Before we start, all this information came from the developer diary on Wednesday, August 10th. I take the information, make it easier to understand and upload it to YouTube so that more people will know what will be in the new DLC. Divisional Command and Unit Medals. What changed? Well, I would like to tell more about the DLC, By Blood Alone. Paradox will add a dynamic system for naming battle plans. For many major nations, battle plan names can be provided through a list of locations, resulting in a historical series of operation tags which will be applied when plans are created. Of course, the war does not always proceed historically, and battle plan names can also be generated from several component lists for instances where a historical variant cannot be found. These name lists are fully moddable. For example, if you play Soviet Union, a different naming convention can be utilized to represent the somewhat uninventive approach to naming operations that was used in reality. These operation names can be modified in-game, and you can replace the text with whatever operation name you desire. This will apply to any suborders derived from the initial drawn line. Naval landing and paradrop orders will have a unique pattern to remain unique. This system, however, goes further than a simple naming convention, and ties into another addition being made to the DLC, By Blood Alone. That's all about Divisional Command. Now, about the Divisional Commanders. In By Blood Alone, Paradox is replacing the standard method of recruiting new generals out of thin air. Instead, every division will be created with a commanding officer upon game start, or when they are trained. When a new unit is created, they will be provided a randomly generated character name and portrait. Paradox will be adding a large quantity of additional generic portraits for owners of BBA. BBA stands for By Blood Alone. Paradox also added that they limited themselves in adding portraits to major nations only. In an effort to avoid unnecessary micromanagement, the officers that command divisions will now earn and log a record of important actions they may perform during the natural course of a campaign. Important actions such as taking a capital, securing a high-value victory point, and more, constitute actions for which a unit can be awarded a medal. Medals are intended to act as a political power sink for the mid-late game, since a lot of players tend to end up with a significant amount of this resource as decisions, advisors, and focuses begin to dwindle. Units can receive multiple medals, however the cost for each will increase as more are granted to any given unit. Paradox included a series of generic medals based on alignment, as well as unique medal sets for each major country. A medal's name and description will in most cases be dynamic depending on what action it was awarded for. An extreme valor while on a specific named operation can also result in receiving a medal for that action. To further streamline the process of awarding medals, you can perform quick actions to do this through the officer's entry in the core screen. Paradox is removing the old method of recruiting generals by means of reaching into the void and plucking out a fully qualified officer. This means that your army generals will now be directly linked to your field of divisional officers. Divisional officers will store experience based on the experience gain of the unit they are commanding. You can promote divisional commanders out of their divisional role and directly into their new role as a general. Any medals awarded to the division will be retained by that division. However, the newly created general will keep a reference to their awarded medals as a means of remembering their accomplishments in the line of duty. Promoting someone with field experience can prove a lot more valuable than hiring another pen pusher. If they have earned at least a certain quantity, as yet undecided, of field experience, they will also begin with a personality trait corresponding to the type of division they were commanding: armor officer, infantry officer, etc. That's all Paradox has to say about divisional commanders and unit medals. Tomorrow, the 20th of August, I'll talk about unit cohesion and a little about modding, but next week, I'll release a full video about what's gonna happen with modding after BBA.